Shut it down again.
Have we now been offered, whether we like it or not, the perfect advert for reinstating the away fan ban?
Well, that can't be the utopia. You can't let the minority affect the majority because there are factions within these fan bases that choose to think they can behave as they want. I would imagine that Rangers, in order to have got safety certificates to be able to put the game on, must have given undertakings to police the game in a certain way and to steward it in a certain way. So the observations being made about was sufficient stewarding put into place and so on and so forth, I would imagine those are easily going to be answered.
Yeah.
It then becomes about what's the stewards have to experience. We know that stewards aren't going to avail themselves of violent altercations because it's not their function. It's not also their, what they're paid to do, and it's way beyond what they're paid to do. You have to ask the question about policing and how much policing there was involved. We aren't, irrespective of the unpalatable nature of the circumstances yesterday, we aren't back in the 80s. This is not anywhere near what it was before, and I'm not suggesting that should be a precursor to giving it an excuse, but we have to qualify that, and we have to pare it back and go, it's very easy. I listened to certain people, I picked up on certain clips on this platform where you had certain Scottish reporters coming in with the show of Alan Pardew and the other fella who he works with on Sunday afternoons, talking about they've been tolerated for too long. I'm curious to understand why it is that people that don't actually know how to run football clubs can sit there opining upon what people do and don't tolerate and why they do and don't tolerate it and why they will placate the Green Brigade or why they will placate the Ultras at Rangers. And Ultras aren't just a scenario that pervades Scottish football. It's everywhere. It even goes into the American MLS. When I was watching Inter Miami, they had a group of people that weren't watching the game. They were just playing drums, trying to create an atmosphere inside the stadium.
But we don't see these scenes replicated here.
Yes,
in
we
the
do.
Premier League.
We saw it, maybe not in the Premier League, but we saw it in the 2017 playoff final between Millwall and Bradford, where their fans invaded the pitch and created mayhem. Not quite as much violence, not so much based upon fighting one another, but creating mayhem. So we have seen it. We saw it at Wembley Stadium in 2021. Culturally different because it was an international football match, but we still see it. It's an underbelly of society where people think they can do as they want and they don't respect authority. So we have to pare this back and go, was enough done? Should we have to police these games in such a way that ultimately excludes people from being able to find their way onto the pitch? Should there have been a line around the stadium at the end of the game with police that stop people from doing this? Should we have to do that? No, we shouldn't. But if we shouldn't have to do it, but we do have to do it, they're two different discussions. So we have to get all of this into the ether, all of this into the discussion, and then start saying, well, why would Celtic tolerate these Ultras? We were there 4 years ago and we saw them. They don't watch the game, they bang their drums and they make it all about themselves. So what?
Yeah.
If that's what creates an atmosphere inside the stadium.
Why would Rangers tolerate these Ultras, you're meaning?
Why would Rangers? So then you go to the other side of the equation.
Right.
And why would Celtic tolerate the Green Brigade and their behaviour?
Right.
And there must be a reason. Now, I've been in their boardroom. I don't confess to being particularly impressed by what I heard from the two sets of Celtic and Rangers directors. There were silly buggers in that particular situation. But they're also not weak people. So there must be a reason why they allow certain factions inside football stadiums to be present. You can't legislate for morons behaving in a certain way. You have to get the balance right between making the argument that you were making, which is, have we just proven the case that we should have no away fans in the Old Firm? No. We've proven the case that we have to eliminate the morons from the equation, and then hopefully the rest of it will take care of itself. We have to get rid of those that are. Why are they nicking them on the pitch? Why aren't the police nicking people? Why aren't these guys that are running on the pitch with their Spider-Man masks on being nicked and arrested because there's not enough resources?
How do you nick 300 of them on the pitch?
Well, you nick as many as you possibly can. I'm not suggesting
that equals carnage.
Well, why does it equal carnage?
Nicking 300 people at a time.
No, you nick as many as you possibly can, and you create.
Have you got an image in your mind of what that looks like?
Well, even if you nick 20 or 30 of them, or 40 or 50 of them, you start to create a situation where there's more consequence attached to it. I'm not suggesting that what I'm saying is steeped in reality. I'm trying to discuss it from the broader perspective of what you've created, which was shut it down again.